His was a power that invoked images of witches or demons, the unclean and the impure. So many pretty vampire girls in Fata, even the boys sometimes are pretty vampire girls. A mere touch was all it took for him to strip a man and beast alike of its life. God has quite a cruel streak to bestow such a power upon such a beautiful young man. Strange power it was indeed, like something out of a fairy tale, like something confined to words upon the page, seemed otherworldly, unbelievable. Nonetheless, as he had demonstrated to the white-haired girl, his peculiar powers were indeed real. That said, the world had its fair share of oddities. It just so happens that those curiosities tend to remain hidden away, known only to a few. Hee hee. Although you've laid eyes upon a number of unusual phenomena yourself, Master, the door is to the past through which we have passed. This very mansion, and as a matter of fact, the two of us. Now, as you just saw, the white-haired girl found herself enraptured with this man and his accursed power. How do you think Michael acted in response to her proclamation? He had spent so long refusing to interact with others, unable to interact with them. He had spent so much... As such, he was unsure how to respond. After standing there expressionless for a few moments, he muttered, "I'll consider it," and with that he returned to his chambers. He was not someone who wore his heart on his sleeve, and I personally do not believe he was completely devoid of emotions. He had simply forgotten how to express them in his extended solitude. So I think he was in that moment in a state of complete panic. She had after all just assaulted him with a stream of incomprehensible declarations. That knowing the truth she still wished to remain in the mansion, and that knowing the truth she loved him. The love she had declared for Michael was not fleeting puppy love. There was genuine tenderness and warmth to her words. But he had gone through his life shunned, feared, pushed away. To him that was normal. He had never given anyone reason to have any fondness for him. So he found himself utterly unsure of how to take the affection she was showing. Of course, he was not the only one rattled by the whole affair. Oh dear. Several days had passed since Michael had asked for time to think. He had still yet to show himself again. This is all my fault. The white-haired girl paced anxiously through the halls, on the off chance she might run into him. As per his request, though, she kept her distance from his chambers. Nevertheless, she was beginning to worry about the fact that he had secluded himself away for so long. She worked up the courage and made her way to his room. What if he doesn't want to see me ever again? I didn't consider I might be overstepping my bounds. Before opening my mouth, every step she took was slow and laborious. Her mind raced with worry and doubt. She should at least tell him I'm sorry. Rather than out of a desire to know how he felt, she was compelled by the guilt and a desire to apologize. After walking for some time, she arrived at a door sitting in an utterly unlit hallway. She drew a breath of musty air and let it out, repeating the process several times. Next, she reached her hand to knock on the door, then pulled it back, also doing this a number of times. Hee hee. Oh, how adorable she was. I did nothing more than to give her a little nudge. After all, she was too sweet a girl for her worries to be anything but misplaced. I just can't find the courage. Maybe I should come back another day. But what's the point of waiting? I need to apologize and get the weight off his back now. She gathered her courage once more, this time determined she would do it. The white-haired girl moved her small fist towards the door, which swung open. I'm sorry. Please, you must announce your presence. I almost walked right into you. Are you in that much of a hurry for mishap? I'm sorry. I believe I told you to stay away from my chambers. You did, so I spent a long time debating whether I would, but I decided I really want to tell you this. Oh, well, actually, I truly am sorry. What? The other day, I could barely manage to get the words in my head all the way to my mouth. There was no room in my mind for anything else. Shoved my own thoughts and feelings into your face, not considering that might not be what you wanted, just running non-stop, not thinking at all. I was terribly disrespectful to you, completely selfish. You're a kind-hearted man, I truly believe that, but you're only being courteous because you're a nice man. I'm sure you have little interest in the affections of a queer little girl, so I'd love it if I could stay here. It'd be a wonderful blessing. But if you really don't want me here, my feelings are imposing on you, then I apologize. I'm sorry, and I'll take my leave of this house. I'm sorry. Don't be, my mind went blank for a moment. What? I find it difficult to comprehend you. The other day you were firm in your intentions to stay, and now you say you'll leave without a struggle. You holed up in your room for so long that I thought, you didn't want me around. To be honest, I want to stay here, I do. I think you should do whatever pleases you. Huh? You can stay or you can leave. I will not pressure you to do one or the other. So I'm not imposing? Tell you the truth, I had to think about that for some time. However, I've now come to something of a solution. Since you're here, come into my room. What? But I thought I wasn't allowed to. To prevent what almost happened a few moments ago, so we don't accidentally run into each other. So sorry. You're forgiven. Now come in. Okay. Is this a necklace? If that's what it looks like to you, then I suppose that means I succeeded. Pick it up. Ah, it has a little bell. It's adorable. Please make an effort to wear that while you're in the house. Because it's so dark, there will always exist the risk. Check the backlog. I like the way you say okay. Oh, what the heck? What is up with that? Okay, so it's just this one place. Messing with the records. Okay. Because it's so dark, there will always exist the risk that we might accidentally bump into each other. So I tried to come up with a way to reduce that risk. Does this mean you didn't leave your room because you're working on this? That's right. What other reason would I have? I think most people would assume it's because I'd put you in a bad mood or that you didn't want to see them. I have little sense of how most people see the world. Sorry. I appreciate it though. It recorded the last thing that happened in White Album too. Oh my god. I'm really glad to know that you put so much thought into life together with me. Be difficult not to after the other day. Hehe. I'm so happy right now. I can't think of any better word to describe it. I couldn't be happier. You're being dramatic. To tell you the truth, I feel a little bad about it. Why? It seems rather impertinent to affix a bell to someone. You're not livestock, you're a person. That's why you turned it into a necklace? Thank you very much. I'll keep it on me at all times. I truly really appreciate it, Lord Michael. Don't call me Lord, please. Alright then, I'll just call you Michael. And will you please call me Giselle? The windows. What? If we could open the windows, never mind. I was just thinking how you wouldn't need a bell at all if we could get some light in here. They can't be open? They're rusted shut. All the windows have been shuttered for as long as I've been here. Seemed you had boarded them all up. That was done long before I ever arrived. After so many years here, though, I hardly consider it an inconvenience anymore. It also serves to repel wanderers. Oh, really? Is there something odd about that? No, it's just I realized I had the wrong impression about a number of things. As I learn more, I see things in a different light. I see you in a different light. And I'm sure there's still plenty more for me to learn. Of all the people I have ever met, you're perhaps the most difficult to predict. Not only do you have no aversion to the darkness, the dark has always been a close friend of mine. Which isn't to say I dislike the sun. Its light can simply be a bit too strong for me. It's like I'm some kind of unholy monster that can't be exposed to sunlight. You are anything but unholy. My name would suit you much better than me. Oh, he likes her. Oh, what was that? I'm gonna check the backlog. What is happening? I don't like these sounds. What a beautiful story. Much better than the real thing, is it not, my dear? What is happening? That day when I first saw Giselle, I was wary of her, apprehensive. I didn't want her anywhere near me, but as my doubts about her faded, I began feeling something different. So the lump in my heart had been melted away. I began to yearn for her to be at my side. Ew, what is happening? Knowing full well it couldn't possibly last, knowing full well how foolish it was, I found myself captivated by her. I found myself wishing to have her stay with me. Oh, this is horrible. I am so creeped out. What the? What is happening? Yeah, I know. I was gonna check. This is creepy. What the fuck is happening? I already checked this. Nothing else happened. And that marked the true beginning of their quiet days together in the dark mansion. They acknowledged and accepted each other's presence, no longer isolating themselves but actively, regularly conversing. As mundane as it might seem, it was something they had been unable to attain until then. Nevertheless, they were still somewhat fumbling around in the dark with one another, drawing closer and pushing away again. Michael, in his own ungraceful way, was beginning to open himself up to the things she said, and the white-haired girl was beginning to smile with greater frequency. They had taken to dining together, and her wish of learning to read was being granted. He taught her in the feeble light of a candle placed upon the table, the two sitting across from one another. Oh, okay, I thought they would add more. I don't remember that well. No, you're okay. Though Michael seemed... I thought they were going to add more too. I had the same feeling as you. Though Michael seemed to be well educated, he had not been instructed in the art of teaching, so he found the process quite grueling. But to the white-haired girl, the longer it took, the better. Her primary objective was, after all, to spend time with him. The days passed, and eventually she reached the point where her comprehension was adequate enough without assistance. Her next request was for them to read the book together. Have you read every book in the library? No, I stopped looking at them after a while. Most everything I've said is dull, uninformative dreck. The Diary of a Lord, foolish make-believe tales. You're not fond of fiction, I take it. What value is there in lies and fantasies of another? Stories can be invigorating. The tales of adventure can take you places you could never go. Legends of heroes, folklore, stories of otherworldly phenomena. They can be terrifying and they can be exhilarating. They may not be real, but they give you a little glimpse into the author's heart and let you feel like you're seeing the same thing they saw. You are a very empathetic girl. Fiction inspires nothing of the sort in me, however. Perhaps long ago I may have been able to, though I can no longer remember what it feels like. I'm sure it'll come back to you. You're not an empty man. Sorry, I'm making you uncomfortable again. How about we read this book today? It appears to be a collection of legends. You haven't read this one yet, then? That's good to hear. It'll be more enjoyable if it's a new experience for the both of us. It looks like it's a record of local legends. This book is divided into several sections, though it appears to be mostly superstitions. Hehe, I am curious what kind of stories this area has. Two of them were looking down at a simple, undecorated volume. Those the white-haired girl has said seemed to be a collection of local legends passed down generation to generation. They sat across from one another at the table, her turning the pages and Michael simply watching as so to not brush against her. Eventually her eyes were drawn to a particular word on one of the pages, bringing her hands to a stop. The witch. This chapter detailed the story of a witch, or more precisely said witch's curse. The story went something like this. Ooh, why is the witch crossed out? There was once a witch skilled in the dark arts. She lived a meager but peaceful life alongside the other villagers. But then a long, long drought struck the village, which the people blamed on the witch. The witch was sentenced to death, and as the fire blazed around her, smoke rose high into the air. The smoke soon became rain clouds, blessing the village with an end to the drought. The crops were revitalized, and the villagers fancied themselves heroes. However, that rain also brought madness upon the people. Though the earth below them was lush and fertile, the villagers were losing their minds, and they eventually began to take each other's lives. The witch still lived on in the form of a curse. Many fell victim to the witch's curse. Have you reached the watchtower part yet? No, I don't know what the watchtower is. Though it did not only take, it also fulfilled people's desires. The villagers had gone mad, but their wish for freedom from the drought had been granted. Thus the legend has been passed down as follows. The witch will grant your wish in exchange for great sacrifice. As smoke in the sky, she watches down upon us from above. To reach the witch, climb for the heavens, but know that the road is a road to destruction. I think the witch is the maid, and she grants wishes in exchange for a sacrifice. That would make sense with all the stories. People still believe the witch's legend even now, I suppose, and that's why I face accusations of being a witch. It's not an area very welcoming to outsiders. Especially one who stands out as much as you. Why's she gotta keep sacrificing poor little white-haired girl, though? I don't know. What brought you to this region in the first place? Maybe I'm also thinking that white-haired girl is a reincarnation of the first witch, and she keeps getting reincarnated. But I don't know why that would make her life so misfortunate. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It seems like, also, they say that this is the first story, but this mansion was already boarded up and stuff like that before Michael got here. So how could this be the first story? If he talks about, oh, this was here before, this was here before. Like, nani? Was cast out of my house. I come from a very poor family, could barely even afford to keep everyone fed. Being as weak as I am, it was only natural that I would be first to go. I see. What I don't understand, though, is why the witch is said to grant people's wishes. That is to say, she has a reason enough to hold a grudge, but not to give people things they ask for. All we have to go on is a few pages. There's no say we might have changed or added over time. It's almost certain the entire legend isn't written here. That said, if we are to accept everything as written, you can infer what the witch's reason might have been. That is, if you truly want it that much, you can have it, but I'll make certain your suffering outweighs it. Despair that comes after a moment of happiness is far more agonizing than despair alone. Presume that is why the witch decided to grant people's wishes. That is one way to look at it. May I ask you something? Go on. When I first arrived here, you told me that a cursed witch used to live in this mansion. During this legend, I'm now finding it hard to believe you made up that simply to scare me away. Appropriate the tale, nothing more. It is said that the witch was born in this house. What? Quite the place my family found for me, but it was clever decision putting me here, I think. Not many people are likely to come near a house with such a pedigree, but... No, never mind, that makes sense. I suspected what I know she was going to say then. The witch is said to grant wishes, then one that also attract people who so desperately want something, they do not care what price they must pay. Perhaps she was correct. Perhaps there had been those who had come to the mansion chasing after the legend, Perhaps they had encountered Michael, touched him, and lost their lives. On that day in the garden, he had said, "Many things are buried here." Perhaps that included such visitors. I wonder if that story might be more than mere superstition. If the witch of legend really did exist, what would you do? It might be nice to talk to her, maybe. That's all, really? I feel a little bad for her, though. The only people who ever visit there are there to ask her for something, after all. I can only imagine just how lonely that may be. I swear I cannot comprehend the way your mind works. Sorry. Although, if we assume the legend is true, I have an idea of what climb for the heavens might mean. Oh? The mansion has an observation tower, I suppose what used to be an observation tower. At any rate, it is quite a tall structure. This is the house the witch was supposedly born. A tower... Sorry, one sec. Tower reaching for the heavens seems like the perfect place to find her if she really is here. Who puts an observation tower there? I don't know, the witch? Oh yes, I remember seeing a rather tall structure as I first approached the mansion. Would you like to see it? Of course. Please lead the way. Two of them left the library and made their way to the room with the stained glass window. The far end of that room were stairs to the observation tower. The tale of the witch had piqued the white-haired girl's interest, inspiring her to put herself forward and satisfy that curiosity. She had, after all, been accused of being a witch herself, so she undoubtedly felt an affinity to the legend. What a sweet girl she was. We've seen this before. With Michael in the lead, the two climbed a long spiral staircase. There were many more stairs than the white-haired girl had anticipated, and she soon found herself short of breath. Rectangular windows were carved out of stone in regular intervals. Peering through one of them, she could see a village in the distance. A pleasantly cool, high-altitude breeze brushed across her face. After much climbing, they finally arrived at the top, where a door made of partially rotted wood stood. Michael pulled open the door, revealing a small room with no windows or doors in sight. This is the top of the tower? Wait a minute, this is the scene we used to see in the story, where the girl was stuck in the tower? I remember this art. The girl was stuck and the man came to rescue her or whatever. Maybe the white-haired girl really is the witch, even though her name is Giselle and the witch's name is Morgana. Because, like... she's the one who said that the story was about her. Despite it being called an observation tower, you could hardly observe anything from there. Her face contorted in confusion, and the white-haired girl threw her gaze about the room. Glancing up, she saw only a darkened ceiling, and slightly below it a small single window through which shone a little ray of light. The beam cleaved through the darkness like the sharpened blade of a beautiful sword. The darkness draped over the rest of the room only served to make more impressive than the solitary ray of light. It had a magical fairy tale-like quality to it. As if being pulled in by it, she drew toward the light. I suspect there was once a large window in this room. If you look closely, you can see seams in the stone of the wall. The color of the stones slightly differs on either side of the seams. I presume something caused them to seal off the window after it was built, though I don't know what that something might be. Oh, she's so pretty. When Michael's eyes fell upon the white-haired girl, wrapped in that beam of light, he sputtered to a stop. He had never seen her illuminated so vividly before, and he was having a great deal of trouble finding the words to describe her striking beauty. I think that's why he's saying ag. For someone who had been chased out of her home and accused of being a witch, the white-haired girl looked less like a practitioner of the dark arts and more like one of the hosts of heaven. Michael undoubtedly felt the same way, for his gaze was affixed firmly upon her. Aw, she's so cute! Dazzling, isn't it? Like a staircase leading to heaven. Yes, perhaps so. Something the matter? No, I'm fine. You know, it feels like there's something odd in the air here. It feels like someone might actually be listening. If the witch were to speak to you, what would you say to her? I'd ask her to tell me her true feelings, to tell me what kind of person she was, what kind of pain she had to endure. This reminds me of, did you see Outlaw Star? I just want to know what she felt, this woman people branded a witch. The legend was written from a neutral perspective. It's possible she was a fearsome witch. It's also possible she wasn't. I get the feeling she was just persecuted like me and you. Unlike you, I truly am impure. Disagree all you want, but my touch kills. I'm strange, incomprehensible, irrational creature. Or maybe I'm not even a living being, and that's why when I touch something that is, I bring them death. If only I actually were a witch. If only I had some kind of extraordinary power, regardless of whether it came from God or the devil, then I would be able to grant people's wishes. My wish need not be granted. But it's what I want to. I wish to be able to touch you. Be perfectly content with nothing changing, with us never being able to touch one another. I would be more than happy with that. But I'm allowed to dream, aren't I? It doesn't have to be in this life. I pray the day will come that we can get closer, even if this has to happen in another life. Happiness is very much a stranger to me, but am I allowed to dream too? You are. I will never touch you, I swear it, but I would like to dream about it. Like to imagine placing my hand upon your cheek. She's too good for this world of hierarchies and kingses and tars. You can. Reach your hand out for me. I will imagine it too. I'm imagining your fingers running through my hair, brushing up against my skin. I can feel your warmth. There is a wall between them, a wall they could not cross. For if they did, it would mean the white-haired girl's death. No matter how much they yearned for it, they could not touch one another, so they did so within the confines of their imagination, envisioning it in as much detail as they could manage. It was sad but sweet, a moment of pristine, untainted beauty. Two of them emanated serenity, as fitting as the word curse might have been to the mansion as a whole. Atop the observation tower, a pure bond was being shared. You guys can still blow kisses. Aw. A fleeting moment between a young man with a cursed touch and a kind-hearted, beautiful girl. The dream did not last long, no, for God is quite cruel. They simply wanted to be together, that was all. Their wish was hardly unreasonable. Only a quiet, peaceful life together, but misfortune was creeping even nearer, its footsteps growing more and more pronounced. Oh gosh. Someone at the door? The flow of time was hazy within the mansion's wall. They had little way of telling whether it was night or day, preventing them from knowing exactly how much time had passed. The white-haired girl had made a habit of climbing to the observation tower ever so often to see whether the sun was up, which allowed her to approximate the time of day. Consequently, when she heard the knock on the door, she was not aware just how deep the night was outside. The forest and beasts alike lay quietly at rest. Oh right, the stores in the cellar are almost exhausted. It must be this month's delivery. Not thinking it was worth bothering Michael over, she made her way out of her chambers and headed for the entrance. There had only been a single knock, leading her to conclude that, as before, the servant had simply left the box outside the door. Ah! So that scared me. So without a second thought, she opened the door. She saw a strange, vagrant man standing in the moonlight. His clothes were tattered, his bearded face bony and emaciated. She gasped, shrinking back several paces. The heavy door began to swing shut, but the man forced it open, glaring down at her with unfocused eyes and mumbling, "Are ye the witch that'll grant people's wishes?" It was in that moment that the white-haired girl had realized she had been careless. The man had sought out the mansion because he believed the legend of the witch, and he did not seem particularly right of mind either. Perhaps a result of wandering through the forest for several days. Or perhaps it was because he was so beaten down that he thought to ask for a witch's help. In other words, he seemed mad. "No, there's no witch here." "Sure there is, don't you lie to me. I can hear the witch's voice. She led me to this house." I promise you there isn't. Now please be on your way." "Have you any idea how long it took me to find this place? How many days I've gone without food or water, and you're telling me to get lost?" "I don't know what you want from me. I'm happy to give you a little food, so please." "Is there really no witch?" "There's no witch here. It's nothing but a legend. She does exist, she doesn't live here." "I see. Then that means you're just an ordinary person. Just a person, just a girl. There's a thing you can do." "No, get away from me. What are you doing?" "Why waste time waiting for ye to get me a little grub when I could just take it all? I'm starving here. So hungry I could eat a human." "You're about to commit a grievous sin. Are you not ashamed to act in defiance of God?" "God? If I believed in God, would I come begging to a witch? I don't fear him. I'm sure as hell don't fear people. Who's gonna show up at an house in the middle of nowhere? Who's gonna call me out? Who's gonna stop me? No one, that's who. No one's gonna stop me. No one's gonna offer me salvation. There's a thought. If you're a woman, so I kill ye." "What are you doing?" "What? There's other people here?" White-haired girl lay pinned on the floor beneath the yelling bandit, pleading for help with her ruby eyes. As soon as Michael grasped the situation, he tossed his candlestick aside and leapt for the man. The candlestick gave a sharp clang when it hit the floor, the impact of the extinguished flame bringing the mansion to near-perfect darkness. Something glinted in the bandit's hand, and then, without hesitation, he thrust it at Michael. Oh my god, no! Michael! Ha 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 ha. How stupid must ye be to come at me unarmed? In his hand the man held a knife, its tip dripping with Michael's blood. Red spilled from the gash in his arm, the flow growing heavier with each passing moment. "You're the only person here by the looks of it, eh? Perfect, I'll take you both out. You don't appear to know whose house you tried to break into. Regret your ignorance to your very last breath. You're messed up in the head, you madman. I stay the hell back. Take one more step and..." "I inherited the witch's curse. Let go!" Michael clutched the man's face in one hand. The man raised his knife to strike back, but... "Oh, what's happening?" "Touch him, Michael. I just want my patty cake." The strength drained from his fingers, the knife falling to the floor. The man writhed in Michael's grip. "Ah, me face, I can't breathe. Leave this place immediately, though you won't get far afflicted with my curse." Ah! Helpless to fight back, nay, helpless to even consider fighting back, the bandit fled from the mansion in terror. In his wake, only the white-haired girl and a bleeding Michael remained. I just saw a man's life drained from him, his faith withering away so completely dry. I didn't doubt him, but dear God, that was quite disturbing for you, I'm sure. No, not at all. It's my fault anyway, if I hadn't been so careless. Oh, your arm, you need to get that wrapped up. Please do not touch me, you mustn't touch me. The wound is hardly fatal. It's all my fault, I'm so sorry. No, a degree of the blame falls on me for saying nothing. Next time someone comes to the door, let me know. I'm sorry. Please, you don't need to apologize. I am well. Yes? For once, I'm actually proud of myself. Proud that I could just use this terrible ability of mine to do something more than just take life, to protect someone I care about. Like I said, please don't apologize. Alright, thank you. Michael, I'm glad you're here. I care about you too. Thank you. Had the flame of Michael's candle not gone out when he threw it to the floor, he would have seen a heartfelt smile on the white-haired girl's face, and she would have seen a flush of red and an awkward smile on Michael's normally blank face. He also might have seen a little glimmer on her cheek, where a few drops of his blood had landed. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was thinking, what about all the blood? If his blood touches her, does she still die? Because I was thinking that when he got stabbed. Man, I'm so psychic. But alas, they had no light. If fluids don't count. Well, it's a curse, you never know. The collapse of their happiness came slowly, gradually. Perhaps it's because she had touched his blood instead of his skin, but the deterioration of the white-haired girl's health crept along at a relaxed pace. Life was not sucked out of her in the blink of an eye as it has been from the bandit. She merely grew progressively less and less healthy. Amidst her physical decay, she was bestowed with one blessing. Her beauty remained untouched. But as far as blessings went, surely there were others she could have been granted. Could God have not picked something a little better for her? By the time the two of them realized what was happening, it was already too late. The white-haired girl had grown so weak she could hardly leave her bed. Yes? Oh, you are there. I am. Thank goodness. Can't see very well anymore. How could this happen? Thought I had saved you, but no, I did the exact opposite. Please don't talk that way. You did save me that day. But you're on the cusp of death now, and it's my fault, because of this curse I bear. How? How could this happen? Why did this have to happen? What am I? Why was I given this body? Michael, can I, ask you a favor? Go ahead. Stay with me, please, as much as you can, until the very end. It's going to do as much anyway. Thank you. I'm happy, Michael. Happier than I've ever been. And I mean that. You didn't just save my life, you saved me. I've been saved, but only me. I wonder how he'll handle things when I'm gone. If only I hadn't opened that door that day, I wouldn't be leaving him all alone. We could be happy together for even longer. Yes? Would you please hold my hand? I think it's probably safe now. I will not. I cannot touch you. If I do, I might take what remains of your life, to take your beauty away, to force you to die hideous. Cannot touch you. I wonder if he'll be okay with me gone. I can't. Oh gosh, what was that? Wait, dark. It's dark. How long has it been dark here? How long have I been in the darkness? It's so cold here, freezing. Where could she have gone? Where could she, Giselle, yes, her smile shines so bright it can cast away the darkness. I must take her hand. She's been calling me for so long. Take her hand? But I'm cursed, that would kill her. No, this is all a lie. Found her, it's her. From his POV, Giselle. Right here, I think. Yeah. On his way back from the washroom several days later, Michael heard muffled voices. Got it? Kill him good. He was having trouble making out what they were saying, but he could tell it was several men and they were outside the front door. The fact that he could hear them at all through the heavy door meant they were probably shouting quite loudly. An indescribable sense of uneasiness came over him. Well, the witch did. There was some at some point earlier. It was like, this isn't what actually happened. He drew nearer to the door and focused on the voices on the other side. They grew clearer, enough for him to make out what the men were saying. Everything's in place. We're ready to kill the switch now. This is definitely the place. That half-dead bandit said she was in this mansion. And while the entire town got mad they killed a bandit, yeah. Listen well, no matter what we find in there, we kill it. It could be a child for all I care. That doesn't change anything. Kill the witch. Kill the witch. Kill the witch. What he heard beyond the door was a group of men shouting for the death of a witch. In that moment, he regretted his decision to let the bandit go free and not watch over him until the moment of his demise. He must have made his way down to the village in search of help, where he revealed where he had found it, the mansion. Damn it. But it was too late. Regret would solve nothing. He could neither stop the villagers from raiding the house, nor could he stop the white-haired girl from dying to the effects of his curse. He was helpless to do anything. The gears of his fate had him locked into a path of tragedy and were turning mercilessly onward. The men had begun to break down the door with what sounded like a battering ram. While the first strike was not enough to breach the barrier, it was still quite powerful. He was certain it would not hold for long. Michael's mind raced. Was there anything he could do about this predicament? How could he escape from the corner he had been backed into? Despite his possessing inhuman powers, he would be powerless against a full mob of adult men. The villagers almost certainly came armed as well. Michael. A weak voice came from behind him. Aghast, he spun around to find the white-haired girl stumbling towards him. She breathed heavily, leaning against the columns for support. What are you doing out here? You're only worsening your condition by exerting yourself. I had a sinking feeling. I heard noises on my way here. Seems that I have brought all my misfortune upon you. Don't say that. If I hadn't come here, this never would have happened. You never would have been in any danger. Please, Michael, hand me over to the men outside. Absolutely not. I will do no such thing. They're here for the witch, aren't they? I'm guessing they're the same people who were chasing me before. The village had a poor harvest this year, I hear. Like the village in the legend, and they believe it's the witch's curse. But you're not a witch. They need someone to fill the role, though. So please, hand me over. And then escape on your own. I could never. Please, Michael. I'm the one who's cursed, not you. And you want me to hand you over? What would I have left then? Nothing. Not a thing. I would have nothing. So long. I finally found someone who isn't afraid of me, who won't run. I have no interest in a world that would take you away from me, make me live alone once more. To hell with such a world. Michael. Would you be willing to die with me? If that's what you wish, then stay with me until the very end. Probably want to hear that just as much as him. Not probably, I did. I wanted to have someone at my side as much as him. So lonely not having anyone. To live alone. To die alone. To not have anyone watching over you. For no one to even know you're dead. I simply wanted someone to tell me they're here for me. To be there. To hold my hand. How wonderful would that be? The sense of utter relief it would bring would be enough to cast away all the pain. To allow me to accept all our suffering. So please, tell me you'll... What part of Hunter x Hunter is this? I'm not finished with it. Michael and the white-haired girl chose to spend their final moments at the top of the observation tower. You could hear the crush of battering ram against the door, the shouts of men, their stomping feet. Despite all that, the ray of light shining through the little window was as beautiful as always. The room's air of serenity remained unimpeached. Oh, it'll come up then? Okay. After the long climb to the top, the white-haired girl was terribly out of breath. Michael considered several times offering her his hand, but the possibility that doing so might rob her of her last scraps of life stayed his hand. Sounds like they broke down the door. I'm glad we made it up here when we did. I'm so sorry for asking this of you. Don't be. I would have chosen here for my final moments as well. This is the one place in the mansion with any sunlight. The one place I can get a good look at you. Thank you. Aww. They're so cute. truly glad I was able to end up here, that I was able to meet you, and more than anything, that you said you cared about me. Have I managed to become an essential part of your life? Do you even need to ask? I wouldn't be here otherwise. I feel the same way as you, I'm sure of it. The two of us are more similar than you probably care to admit. Can I ask you one more thing? Go on. Would you embrace me? If this is to be the end, if this is to be my last chance, then I don't want to end without having been able to touch you. Please don't refuse me this, Michael. Just do it, please. I won't keep you waiting long. Thank you. The truth is, I've always wanted this. The dream of being able to hold you. I dreamed of it too. Thank you. I'm so very... She's still so beautiful. What a cruel joke. Could you have not given us some other miracle? One that would allow us both to survive? Where are you? Where'd you get off to? I can't find her, damn it. Hey, there's some stairs over here. They lead up. Beneath a single ray of light, the white-haired girl lay completely still. Not even a frail sigh escaped her closed lips. She remained as gorgeous as ever. It was as though she simply had fallen asleep in the sunlight. Looking down upon her, Michael determined to do one thing. I will not allow anyone to sully this sight. He gave her a fleeting glance back at her pristine corpse, then opened the door and stepped through it alone. He would protect that room where she lay. Hey, there's someone up there. So this is where you've been hiding, you infernal witch. Wait, that's not the girl. The recluse sound of their footsteps rang from below. Shortly thereafter, the men themselves came into view. As he had expected, they were heavily armed. He glowered at the men and sucked in a deep breath and shouted at the top of his lungs. I am the witch you seek. I have inherited her curse, and it is I who bring calamity upon you. You hear that? But he's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter, just to anyone who has ties to the witch. Cleanse this earth of all impurity. Kill him, kill him, kill him. Michael did not flinch at the sight of the men. He stood unyielding between them and the door. He did not flinch when they raised their weapons against him, nor when they pierced his body. Die and take your curse with you. Haha. I have no need for this life any longer. It's all yours. I am cursed to kill even that which I wish to protect, but at the very least I can protect one thing before my life is done. Not even one of you will leave this place. Wither and die by my curse. The blood spilling from his skewered body flowed down the stairs, down and down like a little river, soaking the feet of every single man who had stormed the mansion. This was the last thing he saw before the final grains of life slipped between his fingers, which brought a faint smile to his lips. Hi, I hope you're doing well. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Are we celebrating tonight? Hi, Jimenzu. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I didn't even realize it was Cinco de Mayo today. Well, I certainly can celebrate tonight. Neither. Oh, she didn't die. I forgot also until like an hour ago. I think I might pause here though. I feel like this is a good stopping point. Anya, were you there when we were playing yesterday? Because there's this one part where it was so gross. It was like squelching and... Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, so basically she just woke up, I think, after he just sacrificed himself. Oh, Lord. Neither of them had expected what happened next, though for God had though, for God had a most twisted sense of humor. The white-haired girl had not miraculously passed away without being robbed of her beauty. Why am I still alive? She had rather not passed away at all. Quite cruel of him, was it not? Michael? Where have you gone, Michael? Michael? I smell blood. Oh, honey. For had he allowed her to die, she would have not been made to witness the scene that awaited her. No, no. And I'm sure you know just what it was she laid eyes upon in the moment. The ravaged corpse of her beloved. A torrent of blood streaming down the spiral staircase, and the sickening stench it raised. No, why? And it was not only the body. The villagers who had assaulted the mansion had been subjected to his curse, his life drained from their withered shells. Why did this? Michael, why? Why am I the only one still alive? That is a question I cannot answer either. Perhaps his curse did not affect those he loved, as terribly cruel as that might be. I cannot say. Why? You said we could go together. A world without you has no meaning. Had she actually expended her life there in the room at the top of the tower, perhaps this tale could have had a happy ending. She would have at least been able to have the man she loved at her side until her very last moment upon this earth. But that was not what had transpired. She had survived, been left utterly alone. I felt a profound pity for the miserable girl, so I called out to her. The witch Morgana. I fucking knew the maid was the witch! I'm so fucking smart! Would you like to see him once more? What? I have the power to help you meet him again. Who's there? Where are you? You know what they call this mansion. So who do you suppose remains on these grounds? No way. You're from the legend. You actually exist. Now I ask you a simple question. Would you like to see him again? The witch grants people's wishes, but at a price. I said I would ask for her assistance if I met her, but that's all changed now that I've lost him. If it's truly possible, then yes, I want to see him. Bring him back to life. Regrettably, I cannot directly meddle with the forces of life and death. Morgana, the cat from Persona. I haven't played Persona yet. However, I can guarantee you this. Your reconstruction. Reconstruction? Correct. To ensure that you remain as yourself in future lives and are not reborn as someone else, your body and your mind shall be reconstructed. Oh, so this, well, it makes sense that this is where it started. So she was the first white-haired girl. Damn. And shall his. I just want to check the backlog just in case. If you sincerely wish to reunite with one another, if you genuinely need each other in your lives, you will eventually meet again. If you can put it that way. All I can promise you is eternal reconstruction. What you make of it is up to you. You want to see him again, don't you? You want to hear his voice again, don't you? You want to feel his hand on your cheek once more, don't you? If that's what you want, then you must remain who you are. If you simply are reborn, that wouldn't be you. So there wouldn't be any point, would there? Me as I am, and he as he is. Make up your mind quickly, I will not make long. I want to see him again. Hee hee hee. As you wish, sweet little girl, I shall grant you both eternal reconstruction, and pray with all my heart that you can attain true happiness. Shortly thereafter, the white-haired girl took her own life. She decided she had nothing to gain by remaining in the present time, and that in order to reunite with Michael, she needed to make her way to her next life, and thus the mansion was left bereft of a master to travel slowly through the ages till someone came along to give it life once more. But an unfathomable amount of time had passed, and the two still have yet to reunite, have they, Master? Hee hee hee. You know now who you are, do you not? You remember everything now, do you not? You were present in every single era, the reason for which I described in the previous tale, because you yearned to be reunited with someone. But that person never showed up in any era. You poor sweet you, having no memory of that, lived those lives with other men. Is it any surprise misfortune befell those eras then? The door swung closed, but rather than outside, you and the maid were inside the dull monochrome room at the top of the observatory tower. The awe-inspiring ray of light shone not through the lone window high upon the stone wall. Wrapped in a curious, impenetrable darkness, you both stood alone in your room. The maid wore a gentle but brittle, sorry, that word confused me. Cold smile, she looked straight at you. It is not your fault misfortune befell you. The only force to blame for that is fate. You were always so kind, so pure of heart. You had boundless trust for others and the goodness of people. You are the very image of all that is right. There is no greater misfortune than someone as pure and beautiful as you, being mercilessly thrown into the grinding gears of tragedy again and again. I still pity you for everything you had to go through, you poor, poor soul. You must be utterly exhausted, constantly betrayed, the men you were waiting for never appearing. After so long, your spirit wore down to the bone, and you lost any and all awareness of who you even were. Who were you hoping to find wandering into this illusory mansion, cut off from the real world? You and I are the only ones here. The man you seek is nowhere to be found. Have you still not figured it out? Then allow me to tell you everything. I am the cursed witch Morgana, who haunts this mansion. And you are the tragic plaything of fate, the white-haired girl named Giselle. Did me calling you master confuse you? If so, then I apologize. My habit of calling the master or mistress of the house master is quite deeply ingrained. And yes, that means precisely what you think it does, that I have accepted you as my new master, that I wish for you to remain here, to stay with me. So let us put an end to this journey. Do not worry, there is nothing to fear. We are simply going to step outside the river of time. Nothing unpleasant will ever happen to you again. I will be here with you for all eternity, and I will give you my utmost care. You will not have to wait for anyone. Forget about him, the man you once sought. I'm sure you shall find happiness. Please do it for me. I've been waiting for you for so very long. I have wanted nothing more than to see you again. But you were continually stolen away from me, despite my sincerest desires to spend my days with you. Giselle, I wanted you to recall everything, for you surely would not willingly repeat the same fate if you knew all the pain it has caused you to suffer thus far. Spend eternity with me, in the gentle embrace of the darkness. The maid extended her hand for you. Her fingers brushing up against yours were as cold as ever, but her breath tickled your skin pleasantly, and her sweet words rang in your ears, filling you with warmth. You thought back on your time with her in the mansion. She indeed had always treated you with great compassion, and nothing she said had seemed to be a lie. And so you pondered, what were you to do? So, this is where the roads split, I think. I'm gonna accept, because the witch is all alone. I feel really bad for her. So let's go lesbians. She was absolutely right. You had seen excess of tragedy. You had borne witness to far too much pain, and your spirit was deeply wounded by it. You could not possibly endure any further tragedy, and so she was offering you relief from all that. Perhaps you should accept it. She has guided you this far, never letting go of your hand, and it was her presence that had allowed you to bear the bleak, disheartening, and wretched tales you saw. Did you really need anything other than her? And if she said she wanted to be with you... This is the first time I see someone accept it? Really? Well, I'm built different. Then surely you were allowed to want the same. Grasp my hand, master. Come hold it tight. Gently wrapped your fingers around the maid's cold hand, never again to let go, never again to remember, never again to look back upon the past you might have had, the rare treasured day of happiness, or the bitter days filled with nothing but pain, or the person you were supposed to find. I actually don't know where this is going, let's see. But you are fine with that. There is no one to criticize you for averting your eyes from your pain and seizing the opportunity for happiness lying before you. You made the correct choice. Master. Oh, thank goodness you have awoken. I was getting worried there for a moment. What kind of herbal tea would you like to start your day with? I have some wonderful chamomile leaves if you would like. Perhaps your tastes have changed since last we met. Is there any more backlogs I need? Tell me, master. I beg your pardon. I allow myself to get too excited. But we get to be together forever after all. Free to flow of time, nothing endangers our lives. Just peace and serenity for the two of us. I will serve you forever and ever. Does that not sound wonderful, master? Ending 1, Prisoner of Illusion. Interesting. Ending? Yeah, you know, I'm pretty good at finding endings. I feel bad rejecting it, though. I don't want her to be alone. I feel bad. Well, I don't know which one to go with. I don't want to just reject her, so I'll go with the third one. Something seemed off. Not only with the story she had just told, with her, and with you yourself, assuming everything she said was the truth. Which or not, my mind is made up. Which will strike you first, I wonder, regret or the curse? You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale. The witch is real, very much so. It is not a legend nor a fairy tale. The witch is me. That's right. It wasn't the white-haired girl who claimed to be the witch, and that wasn't all. Or do you mean to reclaim your old self no matter the cause? If you do, you're sincerely prepared to do that, and be wary of the tale that comes next. Any tragedy that seems too beautiful to be real is precisely that, a fabrication. None of your questions have been answered, and you still don't know who the painting was, or what had taken place so long ago that caused the magician to summon people to it. You didn't even know who you were, for that matter. Still more to be done. You had to find the truth. You needed to find someone, that much was certain. But the story that the maid had told was correct about whom, and if it was... What about her? What about the woman whose name you couldn't say? The woman who so cheerfully called you master? We agreed we would live together, not just in the same house, so we've gotten plenty of time to add more to the list. And I hope you can make your own list about me too. This is just the beginning after all. Oh, so are we Michael? Got a long, long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other, no? You must say her name, you must take her hand, you must make her smile once again. I think we must be Michael, you mustn't reclaim your old self. Ew, not this sound again. No! It's dark, it's dark again. It's dark, constantly. constantly engulfed in honor and darkness. Honor. You threw it away every single time. I must break out of this darkness. I'll give you a world that's not cruel to you. I must escape and take your hand. Because that's oh, that's the reason. Oh, I've got a wonderful idea. I came here. You can curse them with me. I must return. I must reclaim. We can think of new ways to torture them. Well, I'll be happier if you stay here. Just think about it. Just stay here in this world. You'll be right at home. No, I did the best I could for you. Nothing more. This is not where I belong. No matter how much world of darkness may suit me, you'll never be able to do it. I must reclaim my true self. Ew. Oh my god, the sound. I know, it's horrible. This is brilliant. Do you have any idea how terrible a decision that is? Do you have any idea why I fabricated that story? It was all for you, so stay here. Stay right where you are. The darkness suits you better. Remember what someone told you not long ago? That you could handle the stories because they weren't your own. That you were able to bear the tragedies because they happened to others. If that had been your suffering, if the secrets you had kept buried away for so long had come out, couldn't possibly have endured it. But you're a sharp one. I'm sure you intend to keep those secrets tucked away forever. Do you really think I'm gonna let you do that, though? Whatever you try to hide, I'll make sure your beloved hears every last detail. Ugh, how foolish can you be? Despite my encouragement, you still insist on getting your old self back? What do you have to gain from that? Nothing but filthy, ugly tragedy awaits you down this path. Don't get your hopes up, my dear. There's nothing for you there. You have nothing. I'm offering you a place by my side. You should just take it. There's no salvation for you anywhere. None at all anywhere. From anyone ever. She's long since lost all grip on reality. You think there's anything you can do for her now? Despite having repeatedly failed to even regain yourself? Well, I suppose if you're gonna be stubborn, as much as I don't want to, I have a place. A curse on our soul. That's right, the white-haired girl was never at the mansion. There's still a story left untold. What? The fourth door was all a lie. What do you mean? It was not some sweet little tragedy. The story you told was pure fantasy. No, that was the truth. That's where it all began. Because of what happened then, you spent innumerable years lost until you showed up here and what? You reach out grasping for it. You pull yourself in. Your silhouette, which had been hazy until now, begins to take form. Your mind, your consciousness, your heart, your soul, and your body. Who are you? The veil in your mind dissipates. A crack forms in the shell encasing you, then another. Invisible shackles chaining your spirit fall to the floor. Reality fades atop the indistinct foggy world around you. Bony fingers appear before your eyes. Long hair, your voice, no, my voice, my body, my fingers. My arms are frail, my joints weak, but despite my resemblance to the white-haired girl, I'm not her. This is who I am. I finally reclaimed myself. You weren't waiting for the white-haired girl, you were waiting for me, and that's exactly why I came here. What? I have no idea what you were talking about. I've always waited for the white-haired. There was never a white-haired girl. There was only, this time I must say her name, she is Giselle. There's only you. I'm kind of confused. I am Giselle? No, I am not Giselle. I am a servant of the house. I am a witch, the cause. You are not a witch. The witch is someone else. Why must you insist that you're the witch? What changed you so much? So she's the white-haired girl? I'm confused. shadowy figure in the master bedroom, that was her. I'll explain later. Okay. A glimpse into her past. I'm sure this is Giselle, but why is she so different? What happened to the spark she used to have? Where did the light she once shone upon the world go? I have to remember, I must remember. This cannot end until I have. This is no longer a story. No, what I need to face is my past and her heart. She was not even present in the story she made up. Everything about it had been changed. The past I lived in and the wounds she bore were more grounded in harsh reality, not wrapped in a film of fairy tale magic. That was the final tale and it was all true. That's how it happened. It was a bittersweet story. No, how can you not see this? Yes, it was a beautiful tragedy. But was there even a scrap of humanity in it? Behind 3 preceding doors, there had been a constant thread of ugliness and conflicting motivations, but there was a hard trace of that. There was hardly a trace of that behind the 4th door. The characters felt like nothing more than characters. Is that what you want to turn it into? Is that what you want our history to become? Our history? I don't remember anything at all. You don't remember anything. No, I don't want to. I don't need a past or a future. All I have left inside me is uncertainty. Giselle. No. That is not my name. Please stop trying to confuse me. I'm fine with things the way they are. If it means I don't have to hurt, this is all I want. So please just let me keep being the maid. Let me keep being a guide, not some foolish girl. Is that what she honestly desires? Does she want to cast aside her past for good? If so, then... Oh god. Not another choice. No matter what she says, I know I'm right. And if she doesn't reclaim her old self, I'll never get to hear her say my name again. I know I'm being selfish here, but I can't do that. You're afraid of what you might find, and we can remember together. I haven't gotten everything back yet myself, so let's open the real door together. There are no other doors to open, but there is one that can only be one that can only open by our hands, because it exists between the two of us. Not a door with a physical form, but the door to your heart. The door to... Grasp her unnaturally cold hand, a hand that long ago once had warmth. If she can't lead the way, then I have to. I must pick up the pieces of our erased history so we can both reclaim ourselves. Find the actual truth. No matter what we may uncover, I will not let go of this hand. No, I mustn't let go. Darkness falls over the world around us. The floor upon which we had been standing flickers out of existence, sending us dropping into an endless abyss. This dark pit, this is her door, her history, her heart. Let's try this one more time. It's not a sweet story by any means. It's a story of betrayal, anger, and hatred. We caused each other pain, but... That's the road we traveled, and down that road lies all the answers. Jeez. Oops. Been several days since I left the capital, and I could see it when I closed my eyes. The people lined up on the Grand Pont, awaiting entry, eager to start a new life there, brimming with hope. It was a city people were willing to pay high taxes to live in. If you were a performer, you could get some of those costs shaved down a bit by putting those skills to use. The capital was harsh on those who wanted in, and apathetic about all who left. It was composed of a powerful nobility and clergy, wealthy merchants and bankers, and a large population of poor. And it was the city I had called home for a long time. I didn't know much about where I was heading. It's getting foggy. Looks like it might rain. Maybe we should take a little break. You want to keep going? Alright then. The coachman was frustratingly taciturn. He acted as though he had gotten stuck transporting a prisoner. That was hardly a stretch. From his point of view, I was nothing more than a criminal. Even times he would acknowledge I had said anything, he made no effort to hide the scorn in his eyes, to pretend he didn't regret ever taking this job, and I would just fall silent again. The road was gradually getting narrower. We had long since left the paved city roads behind, and were now traveling along a couple worn-down grooves in the forest. How did I end up here? Why was I being subjected to this? I was done thinking about it. Though the more I thought on it, the less fair it seemed. The more I remembered, the worse it hurt. All I could do anymore was close my eyes and weather the storm. Deep within these dense woods, a mansion appeared before us like the world fading into view after a dream. It didn't seem to be an especially large house, but it had obviously been constructed with a great deal of care, and it was thankfully not standing in ruins. This deep in the forest, the carriage came to a stop and the coachman climbed down, signaling with his chin for me to get out. Thank you very much. You must be tired of such a long journey. This is the mansion I'm looking for, yes? The driver didn't even acknowledge me, getting back onto the carriage and setting off into the forest. He seemed to want to get as far away from me as quickly as possible. He could have said something. Oh well. That was about all I could say anyway. Oh well. Couldn't blame anyone for my being here, for his wanting to get out. I should get going, I guess. Getting a better look at it, the house's windows were strangely enough all shuttered. Probably dark as pitch inside. Does no one live here? That's cute. Why was I placed my hand on the front door. Such a big door. What if I couldn't get in? I had no idea what else there was in the area. If the door didn't open, then I would die out here in the forest. Come to accept much, but I was not ready to forfeit my life yet. Please open. It's unlocked, I guess. The door was heavy, and though it seemed to protest my attempts to enter, it still opened much easier than I was expecting. I was worried over nothing. Looking in, I got the strangest impression that the light was being swallowed up into the mansion's depths. Rather than going inside, it felt as though I was about to step outside the boundaries of this world. When I closed the door, it was so dark that I couldn't even tell where I was walking. I wonder if the windows are open. Though I managed to fumble my way over to a window, it was tightly shuttered and the shutter's caked with rust. It was probably not getting open without a fight. Darn, not a hint of light. I couldn't even see my hand waving in front of my face. It felt as though the floor would fall out from under me, and I would sink into eternal darkness if I didn't watch my step. Fighting back that fear, I slowly walked forward, tracing the wall with my hand. There was a door at the end of the long corridor. I pulled it open, and a wisp of bone-chilling air brushed past me. It was too dark to see anything, but I could feel something different present in this area than the rest of the house. Uneasiness gripped me. Hello, is anyone there? Please don't tell me it's actually abandoned. Suppose I can't know without looking around a bit more. My voice simply disappeared into the void, no response. As I pushed forward through freezing air, for a split second I spotted a shimmer of light. Squinting with my eyes, I was able to make out a large window. Unlike others, it wasn't shuttered. What do we have here? Drapes? See a little light beyond. My chances were slim, I imagined, but if there was even a slight possibility of getting some light in here, it was worth a shot. So I pulled open the drapes. The next moment, a faint but colorful light shone down on me. It was a stained glass window. From beyond the glass, I could hear the subtle pitter-patter of the rain. It had finally started, it seemed. The different colors of light blended into a milky white, dim but wondrous. It's so pretty. It looks like an angel. Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. With a little more light it'd be. Please do not touch the drapes or the windows. Suddenly I heard a voice and I could sense someone else in the room. The man's voice was emotionless, neither deep nor high. Before long he came into view, illuminated by dull orange candlelight. I'm sorry for coming in uninvited, but I did announce myself. The man stood there, practically blending in with the darkness. Had he been there the whole time? He was staring straight at me. His gaze wavered slightly, but not enough for me to read anything in it. Then again, I could hardly make out any detail at all under the light of a single candle. Is this your mansion? It is. Thank goodness. I was afraid it was deserted. I suspect you would have preferred it if the house were abandoned. Oh, not at all. I'd be scared to death staying in this dark mansion all by myself. Oh, I'm sorry. No ill will intended, but I do think it could do with some light. That way I could see where you were walking, and I'm sure this room would look splendid illuminated. Not necessary. I make perfectly well as things are. How can you see when it's so dark? I have an abundance of candles and oil for lamps. I am not in want of means of creating light. It's not your place to criticize my lifestyle. If you need light, you are free to leave. If you're in need of money, help yourself some of the furniture. There's a village not far from here. Trade it for food, then make your way to a larger town. I am no longer able to freely return to the city. I cannot go back there. Please don't chase me out. I see. And do you ask this of me aware how people prefer this mansion? They say that a witch lives here. Not merely a witch, a cursed witch. If you remain here, you too shall likely suffer your own destruction. Worried for my well-being? Witch or not, my mind is made up. Sent to this cursed witch mansion to atone for my transgressions back in the city. It didn't matter what lived here, I had no choice. Which will you strike first, I wonder, regret or the curse? You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale. The witch is real, very much so. It's not a legend nor a fairy tale. The witch's name was Morgana. Is me. Yes, that was our first encounter. It's nothing flowery or dramatic. It was rather laced with suspicion and wariness. We knew nothing about one another, and I had no interest in changing that, but nonetheless, that's where it all began, where my history with her commenced. The woman had jade eyes. Aw, she's so pretty. Giselle, I love her so much. My voice is getting a little tired, so I think I'm gonna take a break here. Well, let's continue. The woman had jade eyes. Open wide, they glimmered like jewels in the light shining through the stained glass window. She seemed to be at a loss for words. I wasn't lying per se. Rumors said a witch lived in the house. I was the only one who filled that criteria. Thus said rumors can be interpreted to be talking about me. After staring dumbfounded for a few moments, the woman suddenly burst into laughter. Giselle, aw. Poofed. Oh, wow. Here I was thinking you were kind of scary, and it turns out you're actually quite funny. What? I never would have guessed you were someone who would tell such a ridiculous joke with a straight face. I wasn't... You don't look like a witch. You don't look at all like a witch. I mean, it's dark and I can't really see. But you seem to me like a rather handsome man. The word witch. The word witch has broader meaning than just a woman who practices magic. Any unholy person with cursed powers, man or woman, can be considered a witch. I think I get what you're trying to say, but my mental image of a witch is definitely more a woman. So you're not a witch. To tell you the truth, I didn't know who might be here, which had me rather scared. But I think I can make this work. What do you... It's a pleasure to meet you, Master. Master? I was sent here from your old home. I was an Abigail for your mother, but well, I might have made a little goof. I froze the moment the word left her mouth. Home. I rattled around in my skull, shaking up terrible memories that almost brought me to my knees. Why, after all these years, were they reaching out to me now? And not even sending someone to bring me back, just sending someone. To what end? For what purpose had they shipped an Abigail out to this remote mansion? What was my mother thinking? Was this another one of her attempts to break my curse? What do you mean you made a little goof? My voice came out weak. Did my best not to let it show on my face. It was a teeny tiny mistake. Nothing you need to concern yourself with. What did Mother say about me? Well, it was actually your father who told me to come here. I never really spoke to your mother much. Father sent you? That made even less sense. Why would he have? Did Father even know I was here? No, if he had known, I would have been... Who was this woman? And what was her goal in asking to stay here? Well, there you have it. I'll be here for a while. If you need me for anything, do not hesitate to ask. I'm confident I can handle most everyday tasks. Now, where should I begin? Oh, I know. Are you hungry, Master? Food. Can't imagine you eat much being as skinny as you are. I turned my back on her without responding. No matter what her goal was, she had been sent from that house. There was no way anything good could come of that, and there was no way I could live with someone who had ties to them. I prayed she would take the hand, give up, and leave. Master. And so I kept ignoring her. Master, Master, I ignored. Master, I ignored her. Master, what would you like for supper? Nothing. But failed, spinning back and shouting. Her eyes went wide and she gave a sheepish giggle. Glared at her as she fidgeted uncomfortably. Eating is one of the most basic human needs, so if you're hungry, you should really eat. Said I didn't want. What was that sound? Must you ask? It's not a very polite thing to ask a lady, you know. Huh? You know, it was a long trip, and all I had to eat on the road was dried fruit. I felt like I was some kind of animal. So, what I'm trying to say is that, I'm hungry. It wasn't the sound of her stomach growling, was it? I thought lightning had struck in the distance. It would like some supper. The kitchen is at the far end of the hall on the first floor. There's food in the cellar. Help yourself to any of it. Thank you so much. I honestly feel like I haven't eaten in days, and I'm about to die of starvation. Oh, and I shouldn't need any help finding it. I plan on exploring the house anyways. It's rather exciting, being in a new place, hee hee hee. Erg. Damn it, this did not go as planned. Oh well, she can do as she pleases. I have nothing to do with it. Oh, Master, are you sure you don't... No. Master, Master. What is it now? My name is Giselle. It's a pleasure to meet you. And your name, So, Master, you... I actually left the room at that time, making my way back to my chambers. At some point, I would seriously have to chase her out. Especially considering she had come from that house, but regardless, I was not terribly fond of her. I didn't really understand Michael, but that was probably because we were essentially still strangers. Having been sent to the mansion as reparation for my mistakes, I wasn't sure who I might find there. But I wasn't tentatively convinced he wasn't a terrible person. He didn't do anything to me except stay away. Michael spent most of his time in his chambers, which he had told me never to enter under any circumstances, so we rarely encountered one another in the halls. For that reason, I made an effort to be kind and cheerful on the sporadic occasions we did cross paths. Figured if I kept it that long, he would eventually warm up to me. And as new housemates, being able to enjoy our time together was obviously preferable to the alternative. If I did manage to break the ice, I hoped we would be able to do some talking about the mansion, about him, about me. I had to keep working at it. Michael didn't need me to take care of him. He handled his own day-to-day needs and activities by himself. And in fact, he didn't ask me for anything. An aristocrat who had no use for a servant. I hadn't met anyone like him before. Alright then. That meant all I could do was clean. I wasn't sure how his room looked, but the rest of the house was quite frankly an absolute disaster. The dust was so heavy it was obvious it hadn't been touched in years. Let's get started. It couldn't be healthy to live in these conditions, so I set out to clean each room in the house one by one. That said, it wasn't going to be an easy task. Not because I was bad at cleaning. In fact, I considered... Wait a minute. Okay, sorry. I just had to check something really quick. Okay. But because it was near impossible to find all the dust and grime that had needed cleaning under the fickle lighting of a candle. Can't understand how anyone's saying to live in this dark. What's wrong with him? Maybe he's actually a vampire. Oh god. Wouldn't that be something? I can see it now. Oh hey, this is still kind of like the 4th chapter of a No Death Touch, I think. Yeah. Him sneaking out every night to suck the blood of pretty girls. Priceless. Whew. Ugh, that means I'm in trouble. Look at me, Miss One Woman Comedy Show here, yep. If I am able to get him to warm up to me though, maybe that'll give me a little more room to make some changes. Like opening some windows. No light, no fresh air, no thank you. Anyway, I set the candlestick down, pulled over a chair to stand on, and started wiping down the shelf. The chair's legs seemed to be uneven as it wobbled slightly beneath me. Wow! So many books. I wonder, do they all belong to him? I knew parchment was expensive, so it was rather astonishing seeing this many stacks of it in one place. There are even some books with bulky, extravagantly decorated covers. He does come from an esteemed family. Spent enough time at his family's home. It was a constant bustle of servants and guests. The exact opposite of what this mansion was like. Why had he left his home? What had he done to be sent all the way out here in this remote mansion with a less than savory reputation? Need to be careful not to overstep my bounds. I am a servant now, a servant. But once the thought had crossed my mind, I couldn't get it out. I'd always had a bad tendency to chase my curiosities as soon as they struck, pushing to scratch the itch no matter how much my actions annoyed others. I couldn't do that here though. I was simply a servant, and if I got on Michael's bad side, I risked getting thrown out. I wonder what kind of books he's got in here. So I attempted to distract myself. I grabbed one of the books and attempted to pull it out. What? But the strings parting the parchment must have gotten tangled at the back. Whoa. Because the books on either side tilted back with it. Ah! And the entire row came crashing down on top of me. Ow, for cripe's sake. Fallen off the chair and a downpour of books was still coming down on me. Mountain of dust with it. Seriously? What are you doing? What? Suddenly Michael was there, looking down at me from the little ways away. There was, as usual, not much I could read from his expression, but I could hear a vague trace of exasperation in his voice. I was doing some cleaning and impressive work. I'm usually better than this. It's just so dark, mistakes should be expected. I really think we should open some windows, Master. Get some light, some air flowing through here. I never asked you to clean anything. You did this entirely yourself. But there's so much dust. It can't be good for you. You can hug now? I'm perfectly healthy. I don't see the problem. Had you even seen himself? No way someone that skinny was perfectly healthy. You look like you have something to say. Can make out my face in this darkness? Oh, you know. I wanted to be useful, and cleaning is about all I can do here, so you know. I was sensing something else, but alright. He let out a sigh and stepped over towards the pile of books, then reached his hand down for me. I suddenly felt a pang of embarrassment about the fact that I was still splayed out on the floor. but I raised my hand up to take his, only for him to pick up a book instead. You could at least help me out. You have legs, he said, casually returning the book to the top shelf. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he was a terrible person. So, Master, are all these books yours? Giselle asked, not a trace of remorse visibly on her face, despite having made a mess of the room she was supposedly trying to clean. I gave a curt nod. Really? That's impressive. Must have been hard work getting them all in here, huh? It's gotta be 100 books here. You could at least fill a whole carriage at least. It's like you've got your own personal library. She had been pounding only a few moments earlier, but her smile was back in short after. Her jade eyes were like little balls of curiosity, glittering in the faint candlelight. I was not particularly fond of the overly expressive, rather overly curious women. Did they not care that they trampled uninvited into other people's personal spaces? Or were they not even aware that their actions were invasive? I averted my gaze from hers. I receive one roughly every month. Oh, I see. She turned back towards the shelves. I presume she understood the implications of what I just said. Of the fact that there are nearly 100 tomes here and I received only one a month. Huh. Giselle fell silent. I couldn't blame her if she thought my circumstances or my family or my life bizarre. But I didn't care what she thought of me. In fact, it was to my advantage for her to be uncomfortable. I just needed her to stay quiet and keep her nose out of my business. Whoops! I accidentally hit a button. There's more than I thought, I said to her, but not to myself. I had no reason to count the passage of time. Only the book served as a record of how long I had been here. 121. What? There are 121 books. 10 years in a month. You were counting? I thought she'd just sheepishly gone quiet. What an inscrutable woman. You've been here in the mansion for that long? All by yourself? Truth was, there had been times when I wasn't alone, but Giselle had no need to know that. You already know the answer. A look of pity formed in Giselle's eyes. Enough. Never asked for her sympathy. I'm here by choice. You mean you were banished here? No restraint, this woman. No. I came here of my own volition. I didn't care enough to elaborate, though. Picking another book off the floor, I brushed the dust off its cover. It was gaudily decorated tome. It's a very fancy book, isn't it? But apparently Giselle was unable to take a hint. What's it about? I let out a sigh and opened to no page in particular, sticking the book out toward her. She was a servant and a woman. There was no way she could read. Oh, let's see here. This land is hardly suitable for cultivation. It can only produce over-sour grapes. Probably get more out of it if I tore down the fields and made it into a market. Sounds like a lord's diary. You can read? Just caught slightly off guard. It was rare for a noble woman to be able to read and write, let alone a servant. Was she truly what she claimed to be? I had someone teach me. So is this book any interesting? It's dull, worthless trite. Can't imagine why anyone thought it was worth binding. Tough crowd. It's not very often you'd see a lord's diary. I'm rather curious what kind of things he griped about, hee hee. Boom, girls can read. His life turned upside down, for real. Lord or king, what value is there in another's grumbling? There is no knowledge contained within that book. Just emotions, unsightly scribbles. And there was nothing more exhausting in this world than being emotional. If you want to read it, be my guest. That wasn't my intention, but alright. Once I've got the whole mansion cleaned, I'll read it. Told you, you don't have to clean. Hee hee. Oh, I've got an idea, Master. If you're interested, maybe we could read together? Did you hear a word I just said? It's dull, worthless trite. Still, you might see it differently if you read it with someone else. I'm sure there are some books here you would enjoy, Master. You're wasting your time. Cute? Yes, cute. The suspicion and restraint budding between us was trite and insignificant at that point. She was still smiling after all. If I had been able to maintain that distance, perhaps I wouldn't have ended up hurting her. It had been a little under 2 weeks since I had moved in with Michael. Though we lived in the same house, we rarely saw each other. On unlucky days, I wouldn't see him at all. I wasn't sure if he ate in his room or our schedules were simply misaligned, but we never had any meals together. Let me take your arms, Master, and read to me. Guys, I feel like I'm about to puke out my whole guts right now. Like, I'm trying to read, but I feel like the more I talk, the more I'm, like, about to, like... Reading does not help. I know I said I'd do a longer stream today. Are you guys chill if I end early because I made a mistake and drank? And maybe I'll stream later, or I'll stream tomorrow. Are you guys chill with that? Because I feel like it's my bad for drinking. It's my bad. I shouldn't have drank. You gotta take care of yourself, yeah. Thank you guys for being so understanding. At least it was 2.5 hours. I feel like I can barely even talk to you guys right now. Like, the more I talk, the more I'm about to, like... Okay. Thank you guys for watching. I'm really sorry. I won't drink next time. Just end the stream. We'll take care of yourself. Oh, are you mad at me? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be annoying. I might start crying, honestly. I feel bad for being annoying. Okay, I'll end the stream then. Sorry, guys. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I'm sorry, guys.